Good morning, Wall Street winners. It is Wednesday, September 25th. And if we take a look at the futures in the Bloomberg app, we will see under markets that it is red on the screen across the board. All three indices pretty much even, honestly. They're slightly in the red. I think this is going to turn around today. I think it's going to be a green day. It may be a bit of a muted session, so might be careful. You want to be careful here. I mean, things could go either way. We've got some Federal Reserve folks speaking today and throughout the week, and that's going to lead into this whole crazy conversation about interest rates and the next cut, and people already anticipating whether it's going to be 25 or 50 and when it's going to happen. But let's leave that aside for now. Really just focus on what's going on. I think what we're going to see is a run-up in the financial stocks into earnings. So if we take a look at JP Morgan, scrolling down, they report on October 11th. It's pretty much the end of September, September 25th. We've got effectively two-ish weeks until we get to that 11th date, and 2 weeks and 2 days. And I think we're going to see financial stocks run up into those earnings. Now, what happens at earnings, I'm not going to predict until the run-up occurs. But I think we're going to see a run-up in Morgan Stanley, in JP Morgan, and in Goldman as three of them as the first to announce. These guys announced more than 2 weeks, so this is 3 weeks on the 15th. And Morgan announces on the 16th. So first one out of the gate, JP Morgan, and I think we're going to see a run up in these. So I might consider watching what these stocks do, see if there's any little pullback. I like Goldman under 500, but if it were to drop, say, to 496, 495, I'm going to be buying back into some Goldman. I sold my Goldman when it popped to 503 and got out after a 492 purchase. So I'm going to wait and see if this comes back a little bit and then play that run up into Q3 earnings. If we take a look, we're going to go in the opposite direction today and scroll up. So we started with financials. Before I leave financials, I do still really like SoFi. It dropped down into the 760 range yesterday. I tried to get some. I missed that order. I should have bought at market, but I put a limit order in and it continued its way up. I'm watching this one as well to see if I can get it at 760, 740, somewhere in that range. Heading into the earnings season for them as well. They're a little later. They're a month out on the 28th. So let's take a look at what's going on in the financials. I think we're going to see some positive stuff around semiconductors today. We saw a huge uplift in TSM yesterday. That was a great day for TSM. They're back in the 180s, probably heading up to the 190s or the 200s, especially when they announce in Q3. We've got Google still making its recovery. It was a little muted yesterday, but it's on the rebound. NVIDIA definitely on the recovery and upward trajectory as we head through and really finalize this earnings cycle. We have still one big announcement on the technology side today, and that's Micron Technologies after market close. So we'll be watching for that. Alibaba is almost at $100. This was a $70 stock only a few months ago, but thanks to the stimulus in China, this stock has really started to take off. And if we can see the stimulus in China translate into consumer spending and help Alibaba out, I think we're in good shape there. Alibaba is doing some major stock buybacks. So it has had a good, strong cash position, even though revenues and earnings haven't been growing as originally anticipated and as historically they had been growing. But I think it's a very well-positioned stock, and if when the Chinese economy comes back, it's going to take off. Meta at 163 is a little pricey to me. I'm going to wait for a pullback. I do love Meta. I just think it's kind of at the top of where it's going to get to. Now, that said, it might get up to 570, but I think it's going to pull back especially as we head into the start of Q3 earnings. Amazon 193. I'm staying away from Amazon right now. I love Lam Research in the 700s. It had a good day yesterday. Workday would be a good buy, I believe, as well. I like it in the 246, 247 range. I think it's definitely reasonable there. AMD at 158 is a steal. It's an absolute bargain in my opinion, especially with Micron coming out today with earnings. I think ARM is overpriced at 143. I'd stay away from that. I do love Microsoft. I think it has the potential to come back down into the low 400s, and that's when I would buy that. I've sold out of my Microsoft in the 430s last week. Net is making a comeback, Cloudflare. So I really like this stock, especially going into Q3 earnings. I think they're going to do very well. 85 is a bit of a midpoint. I mean, I don't think there's a ton of room there for upside, but I don't think there's a lot of downside there as well. And then you've got Palantir. If Palantir's off $1, it might be an attractive purchase if you're only looking to make about $1. I see this getting as high as 40, but I also see it pulling back on earnings, even though it's now part of the S&P 500. CrowdStrike was off. I thought this was going to stay above 300. It did not, but I'm staying away from CrowdStrike for the time being, giving it a little bit more time. It has come back nicely over the last couple of months. Micron at 94, I think, is an absolute steal going into earnings. And then if you are a fan and a believer of NVIDIA, which I am, NVDL is a great way to go. This is basically 2 times gain on anything that NVIDIA. So when NVIDIA goes up $1, this goes up 2. It's an amazing ETF that is completely hedged to do that. Oil got slammed this morning. So oil was up and broke through $72 a barrel yesterday. Now it's down just about 70.4, so $70.40. This is a bit of a weird one for me because with everything going on in the Middle East and undecided on whether they're going to drill more in the U.S. based on the outcomes of the election and oil storage and quantities that are held, I just feel like oil should be going up, but it's not. So my timing is off on that. I know it will recover, but my timing has been off on oil. And then we climb up to transports. I'm waiting for CNR to drop a little more. Healthcare, Humana, HCA, Cardinal, nothing really exciting going on there. The new CEO coming in for Nike in October, that is helping Nike to gain some positive traction and positive ground, at least in the narrative and in the news, and that is helping the stock. Walmart crossed $80. So again, this is an interesting stock. It's done very well. They're doing a lot of great work with AI and incorporating that. I do like Walmart. I think it's a little rich right now at above 80. I'd wait until it pulled back into the 70s to get into Walmart. So that's where we are today on the 25th. I think it's going to be kind of a muted session, but my long-term thinking, long-term being only a couple of weeks, so my short-term thinking is that financials are going to outpace the rest of the market into the start of earnings, which they tend to lead, and that's where I'm going to be looking to build up some positions going into earnings. Good luck with your trades today. If you're liking these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button and tell me what you'd like me to talk about in the comments. Have a great